You are now listening to or watching the It Takes All Kinds podcast.
Yeah, and if you aren't, you can head over to Apple Podcasts or Spotify and listen to us now, or head on over to Drib on YouTube and watch the video version as well.
And if you'd like to stay up to date on when we're releasing a new episode or any other fun information about the podcast, you can give us a follow on Instagram at It Takes All Kinds Podcast and on Twitter at ITAC Podcast. That's ITAK Podcast.
Without saying much else, we hope you enjoy this episode.
You know, Gavin, we did have a little bit of a serious discussion before the show, but one thing I mentioned before that is I really wanted to... Excuse me. Can I turn that down a little bit? One thing I mentioned to you before is that, and especially maybe after that serious conversation, is that I really wanted to start off this show with, excuse me, it's getting a little bit too loud.
John Lennon, please.
John Lennon. I really wanted to start off this show with a prayer, and I think that after that discussion, it might be important that we do so. So if you'll join me. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this wonderful, glorious day that we're having today. We thank you for the definitely authentic Mexican food that Gavin and I shared. I had a roast con pollo. Excuse me. I had a roast con pollo. Gavin had a burrito especial, but they fucked it up the first time.
They brought out like a burrito
I don't know what that was. It looked like 2 enchiladas with
a taco
with cum on it.
Yeah.
Have had that before. It's not very good. But Lord, we thank you for all the burritos and cum and
other gifts you bring us every day.
Wonderful gifts that we get to share every day. And Lord, we thank you for friendship and kinship and the bond. Excuse me.
Okay.
The bond that Gavin and I share and have and will continue to have until we're old and gray. And Lord, we pray to you
in your name in vain.
As the last, we say your name in vain. And dear Lord, we say your name in vain. And we ask that you please forgive Amber Heard, but also free Johnny Depp out of prison. And by prison, I mean the emotional prison that
Amber Heard,
that son of a bad word, Amber Heard.
And forgive us for our sins, for we have cursed.
For we have said your name in vain too many times. And Lord, please forgive me for what I'm about to do tonight.
Which is hit the rig room.
Because I just got a new shipment of hash in from my guy Donnie down in Florida. He just sent it all the way here. He actually packs the hash in
to the bowls already.
I actually buy all my hash pre-packed in the bowls, and so it's ready to smoke as soon as it gets here. I can't waste any time. When Donnie sends the good hash, you got to have it while it's fresh. In your name I pray, amens.
Amen.
Almond joys. Wow, that was beautiful, wasn't it?
Yeah, thank you, Carson, for that beautiful prayer.
You know,
did you have to? You memorized the whole thing that way, huh?
I did. I actually.
That's the prayer going up to God right there.
Let's see. Can we hear that prayer one more time? Going right up to heaven.
There it is.
Ooh, it gets a little wobbly when it hits up there, which is kind of
well, you know, the gates are always kind of wobbly. They kind of give and go sometimes. So.
You know, they say the gates are made of chocolate.
Can't wait to eat it. Well, everybody, thanks for tuning into the...
That's the end of the show.
That's the end of the show.
It's a prayer show.
Welcome to the It Takes All Kinds podcast, episode 64. We are recording this on Monday, May 23rd. You will be hearing this on Friday, May 29th. 27th. 27th, yes, 27th. Sorry. I'm
Jesus
just
Christ.
going off of memory there.
You do not get paid enough to forget these things, okay? Yeah. I'm going to be docking your pay, and I'm going to be docking you after the show.
Just after this.
I'm going to be docking you right after this. Gavin.
So yeah, look, I'm total productive mode over here.
Damn, dude, this guy. Yo, okay, so on some real shit, Gavin and I did have a serious
We
talk
did.
before the show, which completely killed the funny vibe we had going, which really sucks. And honestly, if you're listening to this show, probably turn it off. It's not going to be that good anyways. But we did have a serious discussion, and Gavin has completely turned his life around.
Yeah.
He is in full production mode.
Yep.
He is all gung-ho.
I'm all gunked up.
He's all gunked up. He's
Tony
all
gunk.
backed up. He's gonna need some prune juice. But what I would like to say is that so we don't, in case you guys don't know, we don't have a Patreon yet. So I would really like to start a prayer chain, actually. So if you guys want to send your prayers in at the beginning of every show, we will pray for them. So our email is I think it takes all kinds podcast at gmail.com, or you can go to our Twitter or Instagram, which of course is I think Twitter's iTac podcast, and Instagram is It Takes All Kinds podcast.
Yeah, it's a Doug's All Kinds podcast.
I don't know. We say it at the beginning of the show. It's an intro. Go to those. Send us your prayer request. We will fulfill them. But also, you're going.
There's a prayer coming in.
That's a prayer. Oh shit! The prayer's coming in. I think there's another one. Oh man, shit! Now they're coming in rapid fire all of a sudden. Oh fuck! I don't know. We have enough room for this. But the thing with our prayer request is that you must PayPal, Venmo, or Cash App us $5 if you would like that prayer request fulfilled. But
We
it's
don't
at
make
least
the rules. We just follow them.
it's the least we can ask. Okay. Please send in your prayer
We do
request.
so much for you guys.
That was what our serious discussion was about. In case you guys want a little production side inside of how the sausage is made, that's what we talked about. I said, Gavin, we need to fucking pray more. We're not praying enough. And God's going to smite us one day.
Wait, what?
When was the last?
He's
When was
gonna
the
smite us?
Yeah, dude. I heard that's what happened to your dog.
Dude, my dog can't even talk, dude.
Dogs pray. Back it up
Hold
for a
the
minute.
fuck.
Could we just back it up for a second? What? That's not a prayer.
That's the sound of the prayer that we missed going down to hell.
Oh, there's no.
Oh, there it is. It's back.
And that's the prayers we piss out. Oh, Gavin, I'm just so happy to be here with you on this show.
I think,
today.
I mean, I don't know if you ever heard this song before, but "Living on a Prayer" by Bon Jovi. We could all use that right now.
I've heard of Bon Iver.
What about
Is Bon Iver the lead singer of Bon Jovi? Go on.
what
And
about
who's Jovi? Jovi Jet
no.
and the Heartbreakers?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, those are that's Jehovah Jet.
Is Bon Jovi the lead singer? Bon John Jovi?
Yeah, actually, you do have a John Bon Jovi.
Bon Jovi?
You got bonbons up there.
Yeah, I love Bon John Jovi, and I love hair metal.
Yeah, but I don't know if you've ever heard of that song before, and I think it's really good.
You'll have to play it for me sometime.
And I don't know if you've ever heard this song, but "Head on the Line" by Bon Jovi, where it's
Is
like
that the
"Head
Deadly
on the line."
Is that the Deadly Sketch theme song?
Yeah.
Did you know that I saw a Bon Jovi tribute concert?
When was that? When was
Not
that?
tribute. What's the word? Not come tribute concert. It was a cover.
Cover band?
Maybe. Can you say tribute?
Yeah, it'd be a tribute band.
Okay.
Yeah. Like nowadays. That's the politically correct term. Can you say that in 2022?
You cannot say cover band. You
No,
have
you have
to
to say
say a
tribute
come
band.
tribute. I mean,
No,
a tribute band.
Tribute band.
Trebuchet.
Don't look up TikTok tributes on Reddit, by the way.
Don't go
do
on
it.
Twitter. Don't type in tributes.
Don't look up tribute. But I'll tell
But
you
we
what, you
all
can
have
look up John Bon Jovi tribute band.
Also, guys, along with your prayer requests, please send us your Zendaya tributes. We're gonna need them.
So when'd you go to that? When'd you go to that
concert?
Concert?
I went to the God damn it, the concert. It was a long time ago, and I think because I went to I think that was the Bon Jovi one. Because I think I also went to a Journey, which are like two bands I really don't like at all. So I don't know how I got to go to those.
What white person doesn't like Journey?
I like Richard Perry.
No,
Fred
Journey.
Yeah, Richard Perry. Fred Perry. What's his name? Jerry Perry?
Steven Tyler?
Stephen Perry.
Tyler
Steve
Perry?
It's Steve Perry,
Really?
I think. You know,
Okay,
he lost his lips. Yeah, so I was trick-or-treating.
Which pair?
That's for me to know and for you to find out right after this. I was trick-or-treating. Oh, I thought you were going to do that. I was trick-or-treating very long time ago, not recently. I wasn't trick-or-treating last week. And we were at this person's house, probably like towards the end of the night, and he had concert tickets.
We've been tricked, we've been backstabbed, and we've been quite possibly bamboozled.
He had concert tickets in his candy bowl among us with candy, and of course I saw the tickets, and I'm like, oh, what's that? And then I don't know why he put them in there, but then I got the concert tickets, and so my dad, my brother, I went to see the Bon Jovi tribute band.
Were they,
I
were
don't-
they any good? Do you remember?
I don't remember at all.
Was that like your first concert ever?
Who's there? I'm trying to remember if that would have been. Maybe. Because I was pretty young. I don't remember.
And I
very
remember you
well.
watching Hannah Montana and Jonas Brothers a lot. Did you ever go to one of those concerts or the Wiggles or anything like
I
that?
didn't watch that stuff. I did watch the Naked Brothers band.
I did watch that too.
And
I remember watching the premiere.
here's a reference only 90s kids will know. I actually had to tape the Naked Brothers band onto a VHS,
VHS.
tape
Oh my
so I
God.
could watch it the next morning. Because,
Nobody born after 1995 knows what a VHS is.
Hey, 2000. Hey, Zoomers. What?
What is this? What is that?
Here, yeah, I bet you guys want to know what this is.
Huh? You guys ever had to take a pencil? Wait, hold on.
Here's some 90s kids ASMR. You ready? Here's 90s kids ASMR. Yeah, so you Zoomers tell us what that is.
Yeah, and then we'll talk. We'll talk.
I did actually have to tape it.
I
think it was on too late, and so I had to tape it.
I remember we had this one TV, like TV with the VHS on bottom.
Yep.
And now I was born in 1999, so
Right.
I was cussed.
And you said VHS on bottom. Now a lot of 90s kids won't know what that means. You ever had a
Usually you had a VHS tape on top.
You ever had a VHS on bottom?
Woo-wee! Anyway, there was this one TV that we had that we taped like the animated Star Wars or Clone Wars on. And we also taped like Spider-Man, the 1990 Spider-Man series, animated series.
Oh.
Where it's like Spider-Man, radioactive spider. Anyway,
never
we
watched
had
it.
It was pretty.
I only know the
they have it on
60s.
Disney Plus, by the way. It's a great throwback.
Oh.
It's kind of nuts how bad the budget was. It's actually kind of crazy. But
What does it have to? How does it tie into Infinity?
anyway, so what? I guess you're right. I think it does. I'm just kidding. Maybe it does. I don't know.
Here's the thing: is I really don't care.
So anyway, we used to have this TV, and we also taped Rescue Rangers too. We had Rescue
Okay.
Rangers VHSs, and the TV started eating tape, started eating the tape. So like
It's
the
hungry.
Spider-Man tape, that's like the lost tape, gone forever. I think that Clone Wars tape lost forever, never had it again.
How were you ever gonna watch it again?
We had to buy a whole VHS player and attach it to the TV that had a VHS player on bottom. We had to duct tape it so that we didn't remember, so that we remembered not to put VHSs in it.
Is that true?
This is true.
Wow.
It was like a navy blue TV, or yeah, it was navy blue. Yeah.
You think it might have just the TV might have been hungry?
Hey, maybe just go hungry.
Shove some cookies in there.
Yeah.
See if that'll fix it. We used to have. This is the craziest thing ever.
You're gonna want it. This is gonna blow your mind.
You guys are gonna have to tune into the extra Patreon episode to hear this.
And more of the background later.
Right, and you're gonna want to write back to me later.
You're gonna want to write your mom home to this one.
You're gonna want to call your mom and tell her this because this is gonna be crazy.
Call your mom and tell her this.
Call your
Carson.
mom and tell me.
Go ahead.
We used to have a VHS on bottom TV as well.
Holy shit. Call your mother and tell her this.
Silver TV, VHS on bottom.
Wow.
Right? So you got the screen.
Wow.
You got the screen. It's called case though. You had the screen on top, VHS on
Wow.
bottom, right?
Yeah.
And it was
wow.
it was a perfect little pussy. It was a perfect little. It was just the perfect size. You could
Yeah.
fit right in there, and it was just perfect, right? It was just,
Where did it fit?
it was bright pink.
It was just perfect. Looked like roast beef. It was
It was
perfect.
nice. This game very misogynistic. It was just perfect, right? It was nice and tight. So, hadn't been used very much. It was perfect, and
It had the Heimlich on it too.
it had the Hyman Yana, and it was great. And when I started getting back into VHSs again, all of a sudden that TV doesn't exist. Nobody knows it happened to it. Not happens. Where's the TV? I don't know.
right behind you.
It's not there. I've checked.
Trust
But I
me.
wanted it because I got this 3-banger of TVs, of old TVs in case you are a viewer of the show. And I
Behind
was
him.
going to put the VHS TV on top and
be able to
actually play.
Yeah.
But nobody knows what happened to it.
Wow.
But what I think, here's my thinking. Now those are actually worth money.
Grandma came over and stole it.
Grandma came. Those
Stole the perfectly tight TV.
so perfect and pink. Those are actually worth money now.
Yeah.
So I think that one of my bastard brothers, I think they might have taken it and sold it.
You're gonna have to ask him.
Let's call him. No, he wouldn't admit to it. No, I don't know if that. I would really.
It literally might have just been thrown out.
Probably. Or we might have, because we never did a garage sale, but our neighbors did,
And those damn
And-
neighbors came over and took it.
and they took it. No, I think we might have given them some stuff to sell. So I don't fucking know. We could have given. Honestly, we probably just gave it away. But I like to keep some mystery about myself.
Now some maybe I'm just mistaken, but I just associate Goodwill with like VHSs and those types of TVs with like the VHS on bottom. Maybe
I've
they are
never
there?
seen one.
Really?
Well, because that's the thing is I think Goodwill has like a policy now that they don't take in TVs because they would just get so many of them.
And they also they have like the tubes behind them too.
Right. That's dangerous.
No, they are if you break them.
I broke it a bit in a house and I was fine.
I forgot what the name of those are.
Tube.
Yeah, but like not like
Plasma screen.
Not like the great big plasma flat screen.
I just got a new plasma screen outside.
Flat screen.
Flat screen, plasma screen.
Oh,
Remember when that was the talk of the town? Plasma
the
screen.
plasma and flat screen. Flat screen was like the coolest thing that you could have a plasma TV or a flat screen TV.
Right.
I didn't know what that. I don't know what the hell.
I
that meant.
still don't know what the difference is. What is flat? The flattest. I remember the first quote unquote flat screen we got. It's probably still at my parents' house, and it's like this thick. It's not flat at all. And then the first like big flat screen we got, which is in the basement now, is like also pretty thick and not great looking.
I'm looking at eBay at this now, and I'm looking at Toshiba 36-inch tube TV. This is, I think, the exact TV my parents had in their room.
Dude, that's the same one we have. Swear
Yeah.
to God,
Yeah.
it's still at. It's not one of these. That was our first. That was our big TV in the family
Yeah.
room. Was that Toshiba TV?
Yep,
Swear
that
to
was the
God,
big
probably
TV
the
in
same
my
exact
parents' room.
one.
Yep.
Probably a good sale going on.
It's $50.
Good sale going on when everybody bought it. It was a good TV, man. That's the
Perfectly-
TV that we taped Naked Brothers Band off of. And I still don't understand how that worked. How did you tape something off of a TV onto a VHS? How did we do that? I didn't do it. My parents did it. Actually, I think they fucked it up because I don't think it worked.
They taped over the wedding tapes. It's not a big deal.
And then I missed a whole fucking episode of Naked Brothers Band. I still don't know what happened that episode. I know it to this day. It eats me up every night before I go to bed.
Because I saw my parents put the wedding ring on, and then it went back to Naked Brothers Band.
And then it cut to a naked video of my brother, actually.
In the bathtub,
Which is what I think. Oh, that's what happened. My parents thought I asked to see a video of my naked brother, who was in a band at the time, but instead I was actually talking about the show, the Naked Brothers Band.
What is it?
That adds up.
CRT.
The tube. Oh, I saw a tweet and I thought you just sent something to me, but it was from a while ago.
Cathode ray. That's what I was thinking. Cathode.
You know, my grandpa actually has to wear a cathode ray.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it helps him pee because he can't pee because he has
Tourette's.
diabetes. No, that doesn't.
That's
that
what I've
doesn't-
heard.
Where have you heard that?
How do you tell if it's TV is a CRT? So in case you want to know if you have a tube TV, but even before you call, there are a few key indicators. Number one, if you knock on the front, it's hard glass. If it doesn't give, if it doesn't give a little like a flat screen plasma would, then it's just no. Wait, hold on.
That sounds kind of hollow.
This is how they. Holy shit! This is how they made. This is how they made Star Wars sounds, by the way. Anyway,
That's the lightsaber sound. That's the sound of a lightsaber.
does it have a deep back on it? It's likely a tube/CRT.
Dude, you remember
And
that? Remember
does
that
it?
girl?
Is it
you
a
remember
style that you could hang on the wall?
Dude, do you remember that girl we saw at the bar? She had a deep back.
If it's got a deep back, it's probably a CRT. That's just from techdump.org.
Well, thank you to Tech Dump and Circuit City for sponsoring this
Yeah.
episode of the show.
And Cricket.
We appreciate you. You know, spank me in the butt.
Okay.
You know, speaking of fake news,
Tyler 7-inch portable LCD TV monitor, rechargeable battery powered wireless capability, HDTV, USB, SD card, AC/DC.
AC/DC?
That's literally what it says.
Oh,
AC/DC.
nice.
Remote control built in stand small for car kids travel.
Why does it say AC/DC?
Don't know, but it says AC/DC.
I don't think. What would that mean?
I think it's like the cord that uses the charge, I guess.
I've never heard of an AC/DC besides Back in Black.
Oh, no.
So-
No, sorry, go ahead.
So, you know, speaking of fake news, there was a clip that came out literally the day after we recorded our last show. So it's a little bit of old news, but Gavin swears that he doesn't remember me sending this to him, so we're going to play this
$100, by the
now.
way.
Gotta buy it. Think I can sell these TVs for $100? So there was a clip from a recent episode of the Joe Rogan show with some guy, I don't know who he is, but somebody brought him up, and apparently he's another lunatic,
No way.
that I think would be really interesting for if our listeners have not heard it, and apparently Gavin hasn't. I think it would be very interesting to hear this. So without further ado, here's Joe Rogan.
You know, I want to find out what this is, but I read something briefly and I didn't get into the article. But they were saying that they were trying to pass a bill that would outlaw you growing your own food in Australia.
Oh my God!
Did you read that?
Oh no!
It was a part of Australia. I think it was New South Wales. Someone was trying to pass a law that won't allow you to grow your own food. And they were saying, well, you could grow your own food, and what if the disease is from your food? It infects the population, kills us all.
Oh, they
we
pulled
can
that.
have
Joe's so
that.
funny.
They pulled that card.
I want to know what
They pulled
what the
that card.
justification
I
was.
know
But
that
I'm
card.
pretty sure it had to do with like agricultural contamination, or like, I mean, you could justify it if you're a real piece of shit. You could say, well, most pandemics have come from agriculture, animal agriculture. We can't have unchecked pig ownership. That's not fair. We can't if you're growing vegetables. What if your vegetables have ergot in them and diseases?
Making funny faces.
Oh, yeah, no way.
Fucking creeps, man. These fucking creeps. They got
this
a
isn't
good
the
grip
important
on
part.
people during the pandemic. They locked everybody
Yeah.
down in Australia, and then you know what? We gotta stop these motherfuckers from growing their own food, because that's how you fucking smoke out an anti-vaxxer.
Yeah.
You can't even go to the grocery store anymore, and you can't grow your food.
No,
Whoa.
dependent.
Take that shot, bitch. Did you find anything?
You are now dependent upon the state.
Passes bill.
I know what to look for. Nothing is coming up. The closest thing I could find was something like this.
Was
That's not
something
what
like
Food?
this?
No,
you
it's
were
not.
saying.
It's not in
Oh,
New
it's New
Zealand.
Zealand.
It's in Australia.
I know, but
obviously.
this is
Yeah.
close.
New
and
Zealand is
This
like
is
right around the
close.
corner.
could have.
Could have.
It's got to be a real thing. It
It's
seems
gotta
too
be
good
real.
to not be.
It's obviously.
I typed in outlaw growing food in Australia, and not a single thing comes up
Hold on.
except
Hold
for that,
on.
which was a false thing.
growing your own food.
They want us completely.
This is on the podcast, right?
Dependent.
Like this is live. Like this would have been live,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I can't find it either.
Yeah.
Damn it. It better not be fake. It might be fake.
But even if it's fake, right? Like the fake is usually the warning.
The fake is usually the one. Even if it's fake, it could be real, is what he's saying.
No, it's real because it's a real fear that someone has. But is it real? Is it a real problem? Fuck no.
It could, but it
couldn't.
the fact that it's out there means it
Did it
could
come from
be
Joe Rogan's
real.
imagination? Maybe.
No,
but
he saw it.
He saw it. He saw it though, and it wasn't New Zealand. It was definitely Australia, New South Wales.
But it could be fake. But it seems like it's real.
It's definitely real.
So that's
I saw it. I
So-
mean, I saw the article, but I didn't really get into it.
right. So that's I think that
Sounds like
if,
you should have gotten into it.
I think if anybody out there, if any of our listeners are good old Joe Rogan fans,
And growing their own supply.
and if you're growers, not showers like I am,
yeah.
hopefully that'll show you just how much research our good pal Joe Rogan does. So
Well, he read the article, or he read the article time, but he didn't really get into it.
right.
Well,
And
he
it was
read the
on-
article, but he didn't really get into it.
It was on newsweekmax.org.
Examiner. Dot.
The newsexaminer.com.
Yep. I remember that website because, yeah.
I saw an article.
Well,
on there
I saw an article,
recently.
but I didn't really get into it. But it was about how Dr. Pepper and dogs are linked, and I got into that a little bit.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's how you smoke out an anti-vaxxer.
Yeah. No, it really is.
I was
Not-
hanging.
yeah.
I was hanging with a few people, and we were in their car, and we were smoking out an anti-vaxxer with their bong
in the rig room.
in the rig room. I saw an article on there once. Like you said, didn't get into it. Just saw the headline.
Yeah.
It said 17 photos of Billie Eilish that she does not want you to see.
I
What
saw
could
an
that? I think you know what. It's probably it's probably a bunch of nudes.
Yeah. No, she, yeah. I mean, I've seen articles like that, but I haven't really gotten into it about
Right.
top 10 things doctors don't want you to know. Number 7 will
Right,
surprise
right,
you. But
right,
I saw it and I read number 7. I got to number 7 and I was like, oh, you're gonna want to call home about this, you know.
And I also saw one more thing. I was on a website. I can't remember where it was, but it was something along the lines of like top 10 best cum tributes. I didn't get into it, but I just saw
Yeah.
the title.
I was
of
gonna
it,
ask
so.
if you really got into it or not.
No, I didn't. I just saw the title. Can't remember the name of the website. Something about a hub. But it was just very interesting.
was just
Listen,
crazy,
It was
yeah.
it was crazy. I don't know
I
what
saw
it
it.
means.
It was definitely in a specific area of Australia that I don't remember, but
I've never even been to Australia.
can't say I have either.
Can't say I have.
But I
We took a trip down under last week
We did.
with a nice brown spread.
I was thinking about that on my drive home from that.
Really?
Yeah. I was. Oh yeah. Really. I mean, I saw the article headline about Vegemite, but I didn't really get into it. But and I think
it's got a good source of folic acid.
yeah, but they don't want you to. They don't. I've heard that they don't want you to grow your own. They don't want you to grow your own Vegemite out of your basement. Because of diseases and whatnot.
Right.
They're pulling that card.
That's how you smoke out an anti-vaxxer.
Yeah, that really is how you smoke it. And
Also-
they have articles about it, but you don't really have to get into it. You kind of get a gist of it just from reading the.
Right.
Yeah.
You want to know another way you can smoke out an anti-vaxxer?
What's that?
A nice hit of my bro Donnie's straight hash.
Yeah, and he's got packed bowls for sale.
He packs.
He packs
actually
bowls so
did you-
tight.
Did you know he actually packs the bowls before he ships them out?
No way.
He really does. He packs the hash in
Now
the
I
bowls.
saw an article.
What did you see about packed bowls?
So I saw an article about this, but I didn't really get into it.
Right,
But it
of
was saying
course.
something that it was the headline said this all in one sentence. By the way,
Of course.
it was something along the lines of like buying hash packed online. HGTV, you see ACD.
What kind of article was that? I don't know what kind of article that
It was,
is.
it was an article of clothing, all in one line. Yeah,
oh,
sorry, I didn't really get
right,
into it
right.
though.
Greatest monkey in the hash
Yeah.
house.
Yeah, But it was something along the lines of like, if you buy packed hash into a bowl, you may experience these side effects. Top 10. Number 5 will surprise you. Call your mother about this.
AC/DC.
The old wives' tale doesn't want you to know about this. HDTV, AC/DC wives' tale, early American revivalist theory.
I saw that in the Stoner Times magazine.
End quote.
I saw it in the Stoner Times magazine. You
Stoner
know another
End
way.
Times.
You know another way you can smoke out an anti-vaxxer? A good old hit of some straight THC dab.
Yeah.
My bro Donnie, the one who packs the hash bowls.
Yeah. He packs a punch in them.
He packs them tight.
They are very tight.
There's not any more room for hash in those bowls.
They're so packed.
I don't know how he fits it all in there.
And then he puts it in, and then I saw an article about this, but I didn't really get into it. But
He packs them tighter than a clown car on a Wednesday afternoon.
And during a kids party,
Right.
I saw an article about this, but I didn't really get into it.
Right.
But it was something along the lines of packing packed bowls into cardboard boxes may expose you to crazy toxin, may start new COVID variant, Omicron, Delta, BA.2.2.1, Old Wives' Tale theorist theory. ACDC, HGTV, LCD, YTV.
Right.
Plasma screen, flat screen.
You gotta
TV.
be careful about those.
End quote.
You gotta be careful about those gamma rays.
No, I've been those cathodes.
And you know another way to.
You don't want those cathodes.
And be careful when you're reading articles online because you never
They
know.
may or may not be real.
And you never know what they're going to say
And
about packed hash bowls.
But you were saying that he packs them so tight.
He packs them
So tight.
tighter than anything I've ever seen.
Tighter than a bungee cord.
You could essentially split an atom in one of those bowls. Gavin, I saw a movie on Friday I want to talk to you about.
Did you see Morb? Did you go see the Morb?
I saw Kevin Morby. I saw Kevin Morbius, Dr. Kevin Morbius.
I saw Kevin Smith's new movie.
Clunkers?
Not good. No, I'm just kidding. I haven't.
You see Kevin Smith's movie Dog Mom? You ever look it up? Dog Mom.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen that movie with
Weekend at Bernie's?
with Chastity Chandler?
Chef Chenzel?
Chastity Tatum, I think that's his name.
Chastity Belt.
No, Chastity Tatum.
What does he do? Do a magic dance?
It's called Dog. It's a movie just called Dog.
Right. That's just I gotta.
And I saw an article about it, but I didn't really get into it. But
What is it about? Man, see, this is now
about a
we're-
dog.
Now here we are. A Dog's Purpose. The movie I saw was Men. It was called Men.
No, seriously.
It was.
Like, dead
and
serious.
whenever you said dead serious, whenever you brought up the movie with Chastity Belt, Tatum, Jason,
They call him Channing Chastity Belt Tatum because he's such a virgin.
Jason Channing,
This
Chastity Belt Tatum.
This man does not fuck, and it's a giant circle, and it's got an arrow pointing to
Right.
it, and it's a giant cock just photoshopped on a Channing
going.
Tatum's chastity belt.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep talking. Yeah. What were you say more about it?
No, I'm good.
No, just
No.
keep talking about it.
I saw the article, I saw the picture in it, but I
You
didn't.
didn't read it.
No, I didn't get into it.
So
But it was some
these movies, speaking of dog and speaking of men
and dung
and Dogma, the
And-
Kevin Smith
yeah,
1999
and,
movie,
and dung play.
Beetle Dung,
Yeah.
which is my favorite Ringo Starr album.
Yellow showers.
They're coming out with these movies that are one-word titles, and it's driving me up the damn river. Dog, men, ambulance.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
When I
What does it
saw
mean?
that-
What does it mean?
When I saw the trailer
What does it mean?
for ambulance,
Uh-huh.
and it got to the end of the movie, and it said that what the title was,
It takes place in
I
LA, by the
burst-
way. It has LA.
I was just there recently. I
Yeah.
bursted out laughing because I was like, "Why is it called ambulance? Why is it just
They s-
called
they
Does the
steal an
ambulance
ambulance.
talk? Does
It
the
has-
ambulance come to life?"
It says It says wee woo wee fuck me. That's what it says.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It's Andy Serkis playing the ambulance.
And he's crawling around. He's like, my precious. And he's got weird hand.
He's got tires for hands.
His hands are weird hand tires, and he talks with them. It's so weird.
Mama,
Yeah.
mommy.
Please, I want you to attack me. Don't start shooting at John.
I'm an ambulance.
So he bursts out laughing.
Because that's just hilarious to call a movie ambulance. But I'm sick and tired
Dog.
of these one word movie titles.
Man. You saw a man, though.
Men.
Men. You saw men, though, right?
I saw a man watching Men.
Mm-hmm.
2.5 of them. 2.5 men.
Tom Cruise.
Top Gun Maverick.
Top Gun 2.
In theaters this Friday when the show comes out.
I thought that... Sorry. Quick
Quick sidebar.
Quick
We
sidebar.
haven't gotten anywhere with
Yeah,
it,
I know.
so we're
Quick
nowhere.
sidebar.
Read an article once.
The first movie I saw outside of quarantine, they were still selling Top Gun Maverick because it was supposed to come out before the pandemic.
Way before.
Way before the pandemic hit. And they were still handing out like 32 ounce soda, like the big, huge sodas with Top Gun Maverick on them. And it was like copyright 2019 on them, like 2 years after the movie was supposed to come out. Because of the pandemic, like that was all the supply they had.
What movie did you go see when they?
I forget what it was.
But it was like after.
Yeah, it was
2020.
Like, it was like in 2020.
Okay.
It was like after the pandemic and movie theaters. Movie theaters were the thing that were dying during COVID, and
Right.
people needed to save the movie theaters. Well, the movie theaters didn't really give a fuck because they were still sending out shit that was.
Right.
They were still handing out stuff that
Well,
was supposed to be out before the pandemic.
Yeah.
That was Top Gun Maverick, and it's still really funny to me that we're still seeing previews about this because I remember seeing previews for it in 2019.
I remember going to the movies beginning of 2020 and seeing the poster for Top Gun Maverick.
You know what? Actually, I think it was. No, you're right. It was. I do remember seeing the poster for it.
Right.
I think it was the Sopranos movie, wasn't it? Wasn't the Sopranos movie they went to go see, or I think.
No, that was 2021.
Well, I mean, still they were. Some movie was still handing out it was AMC, but they were still handing
I feel
out.
like I would have remembered that
Yeah.
though.
I forgot
Maybe.
what movie it was.
It could have been.
I think it might have been that one or Space Jam. It was one of the two.
Oh yeah, it could have been Space Jam too.
I think it was Space Jam.
So speaking
Spice
of
Jam.
that, Spice Girls
Spice
too.
Jam.
Spice Jam. You do your spice. You watch Dooney, you do your spice.
So you watched the movie, man?
Do you want to smoke spice? Well, before that, bringing up that is that the chip bugles.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe people don't know about bugles. They're these
Little KKK hats.
they're like dunce caps.
Yeah.
Most people put them on their fingers, do real funny things.
Yeah.
And they had bugles bags that had the advertisement for A Quiet Place 2 that was supposed to come out like the day the pandemic went to shit, and it didn't. They postponed it, and they had A Quiet Place 2 bugles bags from like that time before the movie was supposed to come out until like the movie actually came out, because nobody fucking buys bugles and they probably last forever. But I just remember seeing that like it said the date on it.
You can put a hood over your head.
Yeah, you can put a white hood.
Yeah. It's pretty
Cut
cool.
holes in it. You
Yeah.
gotta breathe.
Yeah.
You can breathe through your eyes.
Yeah.
I've done it before.
Yeah.
And like you can come up with like cool names like Grand Wizard or
Yeah.
Grand Dragon.
Yeah, you just play little games.
It's like Dungeons and Dragons. You can bet on it like a
And then you can put little finger hats, and then you
have
can make a really
claws. And burn crosses.
and in the front of churches,
Why not?
gospel churches.
Hey, we don't mind. Why would we
So
care?
you went to go see the movie.
I went to go see a movie
Men.
called Men. And it was starring Charlie Sheen.
Really?
No. 2.5 Men?
Really?
Do you not know what 2.5 Men is?
Really?
Do you know what 2.5
Yeah,
Men
I
is?
do.
Okay.
But I was like, I have not seen any advertising for this Men movie. But I'll tell you what, I have.
You read an article. It has been advertised more than
I would like.
than I would like. Cause Jesus.
Jeez.
Can you guess who produced what production company productioned the movie? A24. You're right.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say A24 or Paramount.
I don't give a jack goddamn it about Paramount. I only care about A24. I'm gonna get A24 tattooed on my knuckles. It was an A24 film, and when I saw the trailer, I was like, "Oh man, this looks really, really good." And then they said the movie name was Men, and I was like, "What?"
I have to look this up because
I was
I need to be able to follow. I need to put a visual to it.
Right. I was not thrilled with the title, and I'm gonna get back to the title later because I have some things I need to say about it. But yeah, that's it.
Men trailer.
I'm gonna give spoilers for this too here in a few. So I'm gonna just give a spoiler warning now that
If anybody really wanted to go see Men.
this is my spoiler warning for Men because I'm gonna spoil it for Gavin. Sorry, Gavin. I think you should still see it. I want to see it again. I did really like it. I'll preface that now. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, that's a weird name. We'll get back to that later. But I absolutely loved it. I saw it not the opening day, but I saw it the next day. I saw it on Friday, opened on Thursday night. And I loved it. I thought it was great. Obviously, I'm a big A24 nerd. I like everything they put out. Have you seen the movie Ex Machina?
No.
It's another really good movie. Was on Netflix for like ever. I don't know if it still is, but definitely it's not a horror movie. This Men is a horror movie, by the way. I should say that.
It's not a horror movie.
It's not horrible.
Horror.
But the guy who it's not horrible. The guy who directed
Yeah,
Ex Machina directed.
horrible.
It's not horrible. The guy who directed Ex Machina directed this movie. I forgot his name. Steven Spielberg or something. And I don't, because Ex Machina is, like I said, not a horror movie, but it's kind of, I don't know, it's got like thriller elements to it. So he definitely knew that kind of world, but I don't think he's done an actual horror movie before.
This is a headline, and
Okay.
I didn't really get into the
Right,
article,
you just read it. I get it.
Men ending explained how Attack on Titan inspired Alex Garland's new movie.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Gonna
Now
have
I'm
to send you this
starting.
one.
I actually will, but I want you to read
I-
it, but you'll have to skim through it and try and find where it finally fucking says the thing you want to hear about it. Alex Garland, that's his name. Alex Gaskarth from All Time Low. It was very good. It was really, really good. It's really cool because there's only 2 main characters. And I think there's literally only 2 other people in the movie besides the 2 main characters. And or 3 besides the 2 main characters.
That's
And
a crazy small cast.
right. And it's crazy when you watch it because so
There's a lot of articles online actually talking about the ending of Men because I think some people are really confused about it.
I'm a bit confused by it too, so I don't know. I'm interested to know, but also I just don't fucking care about headlines.
Oh, come on.
I'm one of the art elitists that likes to interpret it myself. So it's this main girl, and then you meet this guy character, this male character, and then something happens and this other character pops up. And then you finally realize that every single other character that aren't these 2 other girls are played by the same guy. So this one guy is playing like a bunch of different roles, but they just make him look slightly different. So like sometimes he's instantly recognizable and sometimes it's like, is that the same guy? Like you don't know it right away.
Mhm.
So like even the scary person in it is the same guy, which is really cool. And I don't entirely know what that has to do with the plot line, because what the plot is that this girl was married to this guy who's not one of the main characters and wanted to get a divorce, and he was being kind of a douchey guy about it, and then was like, you can't do this, why would you do this? And then he's like, I'm gonna kill myself if you divorce me. And she's just like, you can't use that against me, yada yada. Goes on that he does kill himself right in front of her, and that kind of like, you don't see that happen at the beginning, it's just kind of like replays that happen. And so she goes to this country home for 2 weeks to get away, and is having these flashbacks, and then like meets this guy who owns the house, and he's kind of a quirky, funny guy, and you like him, and he's kind of just keeps making like dumb dad jokes and whatever, and then he leaves, and then like she goes on a hike, and like that's when things start getting weird, and like there's this weird like naked character guy who's really dirty and yellow, and eventually he turns into this leafy person, which makes no sense, but once you watch it you'll understand it. And then shit gets getting weird, and she calls the cops, and then this girl cop comes, and then also this guy cop comes, and that's when you realize, oh, that guy cop is the same guy as this, but he's playing the cop, and like, so all that shit happens, and like shit just keeps getting weirder, and then it goes on, and then like all these characters keep coming back in the end as she's like dealing with trying to get the hell out of there. Like these characters that she meets throughout this, couple day journey of staying at this country home come back at the house, like one after another, and kind of like haunt her. And then like it's very digestible for non like quote unquote cinema fans, like up until the ending, because it's very much like, oh, this is really cool. It's kind of like Split. You ever see Split? Okay, well, it's like this guy who has multiple personalities keeps changing. It's like that, but like literally these are different characters, but they're just played by the same guy. And somehow he is like shifting into these different characters, but you don't really know why or like what he has to do with her ex-husband who killed himself. But so up until that point, it's like weird, but like digestible. And then something happens that I don't entirely know what happens, but he keeps like shifting the characters. And then one point he comes back as the naked leafy guy,
and he's steaming.
I don't think so. I thought for a second he might have been, but then he blows this like stuff at her, and then like that's when shit gets like really weird. And then like it almost seems like there's like these kind of like multiverse type things that are happening, and then like he crashes the car, and then this was just the most bizarre thing. And I really do want you to see this just to put a visualization to exactly what I'm talking about. But he like has broken his leg, and like he's all gross looking, and he's like gets out of the car after you think he's dead, but his stomach is huge for some reason. Like massive. Like his stomach is just massive. And he can barely walk because his leg's broken and his arms like cut in half, but his stomach is huge and he can't really walk, and then he falls to the ground. Or wait, no. So he I don't even think he gets up to walk. He's like is sitting on the ground and like starts like there's like these weird cuts where he's like screaming and like kinda, but he's like screaming like this opera singer, and then all of a sudden it goes like, he's got his belly's just growing and growing even more, and then it cuts down to like his private area where his penis is, right below his dick and balls. This like vagina forms, and then just starts opening up, and then this like a head starts coming out in like a sack, and then all of a sudden like he like bursts this,
restarts
and it restarts, and it's Groundhog Day with Bill Murray. And the sack comes out, and then like a human breaks out of the sack, and then it's one of the other characters, and that happens like 4 more times, where like the character comes out, it grows this huge belly, and at one point there's a little kid character that he plays that's like 8 years old, and that 8-year-old character grows a giant belly and screams, and then has a vagina.
Are you sure this is like a fetish movie? Like what the fuck?
It seemed like a vor type thing.
Yeah.
And then like one of them, the vagina's on his head, and it comes out of his it comes out of his mouth, and literally happens 4 separate times, like with just music playing in the background, where she's just like slowly backing away, and it's like, why doesn't she just get away? It doesn't really make any sense. And then the last thing that gets birthed out is her ex-husband, and he's got the broken leg and all the fucked up things that happened to him, and he's like, why don't you love me, or something like that. And then she's like, I don't. And then that doesn't really conclude anywhere, and then like she gets picked up by her friend, and then that's where the movie stops. So like as far as I can tell, the overarching story of it is that it's like showing how men use these like tactics to gaslight and get what they want with women, and yeah, like you said, like gaslight and make them look like the bad person, and and then like that comes back to haunt you, and it haunts you in different ways or something and stuff like that, and it can like haunt you from different people who aren't even that person, that you see it in other people. I
LA
don't
Times
truly know.
LA Times describes it best with this saying, in the film's final sequence, Harper, having been thwarted in her attempt to escape from the cottage, finds herself menaced by the various figures who have stalked and gaslit her throughout the film, each being birthed out of another in a graphic and stomach-churning orgy of David Cronenberg-style body horror.
I don't know who David Cronenberg is, but yes.
We'll have to.
It was great because the theater was packed, and it was younger people, which I typically like an older crowd because they're not as rowdy. No, they were bursting out laughing, which was great because like I was too. I was like on the brink of like just.
Cronenberg directed The Fly.
I haven't seen that. I want to see The Fly though.
Crash, Videodrome.
Fly's probably the only recognizable one.
Scanners.
Oh, Scanners! I know about Scanners. Haven't seen it, but yeah,
That
people were
type of
just
horror.
people were just busting up laughing, and they were like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, I was eating it up because I'm like, this is so fucking weird, and I love it. And it's like, it's not something that works with everybody. That's why it surprised me. First of all, it surprised me that it was rated R, that you are allowed to see vaginas forming with people coming out of it. And there's like a 1-minute scene where she's like, he reaches his hand through like a mail slot and she stabs it into his arm. And then he's literally starts yanking, and like the knife's sticking up like this, and he's like yanking. He literally yanks it all the way down and cuts his hand in half, and it's like a whole long 1-minute scene where you see the whole thing happen.
Jesus Christ!
And it's just, it stuns me that it's
easily
rated
digestible
R.
though.
He's not that part. That's where it's not easily digestible. But
Up until then,
it just surprised me that theaters were like, yeah, we want to put that movie out. We want people to go see it. I don't know. I guess it's just because A24 has gotten to that point. But like,
I mean, I guess
Never in my
Midsummer
wildest
kind of had that
dreams.
effect on people too.
yeah.
Midsummer, I think, was a little bit more. What's the word? Divisive.
Right, because
And
Hereditary and The Witch were like the first, as far as I can remember, the first two like horror movies that like that A24 got sent to the box office.
Yeah.
And both of those are, I think The Witch is a little bit more digestible than Hereditary.
The Vivitch.
The Vitch,
The Vivitch.
the Dirty Vitch.
Is it the
Yeah.
BVs?
Yeah.
The
And that's a good
Vivitch.
movie. I like that. Hereditary is one of probably my favorite movie of all time. And that's digestible. It's easy to follow, but shit is really fucked up in that. But yeah, it was just crazy to see that and be like, I don't know. It was just weird and
I mean,
it was so wild, and
I'm
really
intrigued.
wanted to see
I mean,
it.
I know that doesn't really, in my opinion, I don't even think that's really much of a spoiler because it's, in my opinion, spoilers are more of like, you
Right.
you have to get the context of everything, and then it's
Right.
like, oh, okay, that's why he spoiled it, or like,
Right.
oh, it's not that big of a deal that he spoiled it,
Or like this happened because of this.
and it's like, well, I didn't watch it, so I don't
Right.
know, but
Where I can't it to actually spoil it, I would have to like really go in depth in it. I'm trying to be as short as I can
that's
with
still
it.
bizarre.
It was a blast. It was just
I
such a
mean-
fucking weird movie.
As soon as it's on like video on demand or something like that,
Right.
I'll come over and watch it.
Let's do it.
'Cause-
I will say I wish it was a little scarier, I guess, even though I hate saying that. But I still just liked how fucked up and just really weird.
How
it
long is
was.
the movie?
Not that long. I think only under 2 hours, like hour 40. I want to say. It feels like it went on forever though, just because of like,
hour 40.
some of those scene, like the vagina scene and the cutting the arm open scene, just went on for so
there
long.
was a screenshot somewhere of it, but nowhere has a screenshot.
As soon as I
of-
can get a screenshot of the big giant belly person, I will post that everywhere because that's
like
I just
the only
loved
thing
it.
that's ever posted. This is like the scariest thing that's posted about it.
yeah, it's not even that scary.
Yeah,
He
I
has
know.
like he turns into like this big leafy like character. It's so
Okay.
crazy. But he was great. He was fantastic, and so was the girl too. I don't know. The guy I recognize a little bit, but none of the other. That's what I love about A24 is they'll take new
Is it
up and
that?
coming. That's a stone version of it, but he forms that character, but it's like a bunch of leaves.
Okay.
But that's what I love about A24 is like they'll take new people and that are like not really recognizable and do things with them. That's it, Tall Man,
I think I'm gonna watch this movie.
Slender Man.
A Jonathan Holbrook film.
So go
Strange
see
Things
Men.
Are
It was
Coming.
great. So that was the movie. The movie was great. That's it.
The Mr. Men movie.
The Mr. Men movie. The movie was great, fantastic. But I had
Encore.
I had some experiences before and after the movie that I wanted to talk about.
Oh, okay, not the movie.
This is not about the movie anymore. That was what I wanted to say about the movie. So about a few minutes into the movie, a guy came in and
Started pissing all over the floor.
Pissing on me. Now his seat happened to be right next to me, so he sat down next to me, had his popcorn and stuff like that.
He said,
And then he put his arm around me,
He's
started
a-
giving me a handy. And then he sat down and started kind of flipping through his phone. And I was like, I just had the feeling, I'm like, I don't think this guy wants to see this movie. But I couldn't figure out why. So then 5 minutes goes by. And then he goes, excuse me, what movie is this? And I'm like, oh, it's Men. I'm like, it's called Men, which sounds so stupid saying it out loud. And he was like, oh. He's like, I thought this was Doctor Strange. He's like, I'm supposed to be seeing Doctor Strange. He's like, this is not what I wanted to see. I was like, oh, okay. And then he got up and left, and I was like, okay, buddy.
well, imagine if he had stayed.
It would have been really weird. Doctor Strange is really strange.
Well, he saw, and messed up.
Doctor Strange was really strange.
You're not going to believe this, but Dr. Stephen Strange, kind of weird.
This movie was
Call your mother about this.
very menacing.
Uh?
So that happened, and that was funny. And then after my experience watching the movie and getting the reactions of people in the theater, which was great, I left, and I saw the movie by myself, by the way. I'll make that very clear.
That would explain why you texted me immediately after, and you said, just jacked off to Men. And I said, wow.
That's a great tribute. I actually just put it up on my Patreon, OnlyFans. Got a tribute channel going on there. Only 2 people who subscribe to it. You're not one of them, which is kind of weird. Thought you'd want to support your friend. So I walked out, and I guess these group of girls, this group of gaudy women, I'm just kidding, they weren't gaudy, I didn't get a look at them, but white girls, when you think of white girls, these are the white girls. And I guess they saw the poster for Men,
Like,
and
he's hot.
and can you imagine the remark they made? You can just make a movie called Men, and it's scary because of that, because it's called Men.
I think they're onto something.
I was like, ooh.
That's some good stuff. Well, the thing is that, women say,
Women say a lot of stupid things.
no, I was going to, not quite that.
They should not be voting.
There we go. No, what I mean is that, women will say a lot of, I hate men.
Right.
Or, but, some pick-me guys will be, but not me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not all men, right?
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that it doesn't apply to you if you don't think it applies to you. If you're thinking it applies to you, Carson, then you must be a scary man.
So when a girl says to me,
Oh boy.
and this is hypothetical, this doesn't happen to me, but when a girl says to me, she says, you need to stop putting your hands on me. You've pushed me too many fucking times. The last time we were at Golden Corral, you shoved me whenever I asked
Into the chocolate
if the
fountain.
mashed potatoes were good. And you fucking shoved me, Carson. You pushed me. You shoved me. And so when she says that, and she says I'm a horrible person for putting my hands on her, I don't have to believe that. I can kind of just take that as it is and believe what I think about myself.
No, nothing like that, actually. Not at all.
Oh.
No.
So
No, never mind. Just forget what I said.
all right, I read an article.
Yeah.
So about the title. Men.
Men.
I understand. Obviously, I understand why it's called Men, and there's probably more of a reasoning behind
Blade Runner's
it.
on Netflix.
Seen that. That's a clip from Blade Runner. I believe that was when Harrison Ford fucked the robot. And there's the robot now. So I get why it's titled that, but also Do you get the feeling that it's a little pandery? Is that the word I'm looking for? Pandering? Like when you're kind of like...
It's kind of like getting to a point of like, oh, okay, yeah, we get it.
Right. And this is kind of what I wanted to... And this maybe will be...
Pandering to the audience in a way. You know?
Right. And entering, like... showing...
Woke Twitter mob, cancel culture.
Right, but pandering to those kinds of people who will be like, yeah, I'm going to see that because it's about men and how fucked up men are. And not that I have anything wrong with that. Men are fucked up in terrible ways and do all of that gaslighting shit. Like, don't get me wrong there. That's
You're crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about.
I am crazy and I don't know what I'm talking
You're crazy.
about. I am.
You need help.
I need help and I am going to go to the doctor tomorrow.
No, you shouldn't go tomorrow. You really shouldn't go, though.
I'm not going to go.
Yeah.
I'm just crazy, though. But that's
Yeah.
okay. I'm just
Yeah.
crazy. And that's fine.
You don't.
I agree with that, and that's fine. But I do feel like it's pandering, like you said, to the times of where we are right now, and that kind of being like a subject that
Listen to this all the time.
that's pretty good. I like
Sorry.
that quite a bit.
Anyway, what were you saying?
So I feel like it's a bit pandery, and like I brought up last week, because I was talking about how I got Dracula here.
Hey, babe, are you up right now?
Just laying in bed. Kind of lonely today.
Aw.
Sorry about that.
We were talking about last week about how, politicians pander as well. And like we were talking about the Republicans making that bill about asking doctors why they're prescribing stuff like that. And I brought up how both sides kind of pander. And I think this is kind of the other side of it, kind of pandering towards that. Like,
So basically, this movie does not apply to Republicans.
no, if you're a Republican, please don't watch this movie.
Please don't watch this movie. You're gonna fucking
But that's
hate
the
it.
thing is they want Republicans to see that it's called men. And why is it called men? Well, it's about how men do this gaslighting thing and it's fucked up
They're
and everything
abusive.
like that. And it's like, well, what do you mean? You're saying all men are that? Because that's
Yep.
why it's hell. So it's pandering to those people who are going to grab onto that and be like, fuck this and fuck that. And pandering to the people who are like, yeah, fuck men and fuck that. It's just pandering and it's just a little cringy and a little silly. I like the message of it. I just think that it should be the underlying message and not the,
like, hey, the message is this. The
This is
message
about right.
Yeah.
And that leads me to another horror movie that is coming out soon. What do you think it's called?
Women.
It's called They Them.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Bang,
And
What you mean?
bang, bang.
You mean Ben?
Ben Ben.
Yeah, they them Ben.
They
Yeah.
them. They
Yeah,
them.
no.
Which, again, obviously, I'm transphobic.
Yeah.
No, obviously,
Yes.
I care about trans rights and everything like that.
No.
And there's nothing wrong
Yes. Yes.
with
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
But I don't even know if it has to do with. I think it just the characters transgender. I want to say, but I don't know. Again, it's just pandering. Again, there's nothing wrong with it at all. It's just a little. I just find it a little silly,
Mhm.
and it's almost like kind of, especially with the they them thing, it almost feels like it's tokenizing it a little bit to me. You know what I mean? Being like, oh, look at this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can see that.
Which is like, I think that's kind of always been my thing is that I am
Some movies are really subtle with it. Some movies aren't very subtle with it.
which is great. I
and
love when
some
they're
people,
subtle.
some people really don't get even stuff that's directly smacking them in the
Right.
face. Some people just don't get that.
But then they find that out later. And I think
Yeah.
that's kind of like, for me, like when I was younger and kind of grew up with these beliefs of maybe being a little more conservative leaning and kind of believing these certain things that like, it was the subtle things that finally got to me and
Right.
got me to believe what I do
And,
now.
and crack.
And cracked me wide the fuck
Yeah.
open.
Now I'm a they them.
And that like, and those like subtle things kind of finally got to me to figure that out. And I love the subtle things and I love stuff like that. But like, I don't like when anybody or anything is just in your fucking face with it, because that all that does is just kind of like deter me a little bit from it. It's like, and I'm probably gonna regret saying some of the things I am right now because maybe I'm not saying it exactly how I want to, but like, I get that.
Yeah, there it is, the gay ball.
Right. I get that there isn't a great representation for trans people right now.
And this movie will not be that.
It
And I don't
definitely-
want
it
that. and I-
definitely
and I
will
hope-
not
and I
be.
hope they don't think it will be.
because it is a horror movie, and that's why I'm saying
And I
it's
hope-
kind of
I
tokenizing
hope
it a little
they
bit.
them won't think of that.
Oh,
like,
dude,
they're
you gotta be
thinking-
politically correct
bro,
these days because you can't say he or she. You have to say they or them. Okay.
You're making up pronouns.
You know, I read an article. It was in Australia where they said you can't call yourself they or them, or grow your own food. So that's why I think it's kind of tokenizing it a
Yeah.
little bit because it's like there's not. I agree. There's not a great representation, and it needs to be more out there. And I don't want to say that titling a movie they them needs to be silenced for any reason. I just think it's silly and stupid and a little. It's just it's just like I don't know.
They
it's just silly.
they know
it's
what they're doing.
tokenizing it.
They
Right.
know what they're doing.
They them know what they're doing.
Trying to they know what they're doing. They're pissing people off.
Right,
They're-
and that's
they're
the
trying to
thing
piss
is, it's
people off.
like
or
I
get people
don't-
fired up about a movie and then
Right.
have online conversations about it. Therefore, driving people to go see the movie they them.
right, and I haven't seen the movie. I don't know much about it. I literally just saw an article about it. No, I did see things about it. And I just don't I'm not going to speak for trans people, but I just don't think that they need your movie to be called that.
Yeah.
I think they
especially
want to
especially with all of the anti-trans stuff coming out.
right. And
like,
it's going to get worse by doing these like pandering stupid things.
we're
that-
like, oh,
that the
that now they're going to
right-wing-
associate.
Right,
with
the right-wing grifters are going to grift onto and be like, look at Hollywood and mainstream media trying to push this out there, and that is trying to make your kids be gay or transgender because Hollywood is trying to push it out there.
Right.
Like literally, I'm not making a fucking joke when I say that. Like that is literally the truth because that's what they do with everything. And there's not even really that much representation for gay people, trans people, even really people of color in cinemas still. Like that's still a hard thing to get through. And so now when you do it with this stupid, thing
yeah,
that you're titling that to piss people off,
they could have,
and not in a good way. You can piss people off in a good way, but I just don't think that this is. I just think it's dumb.
Pissing people off in a good way is like Get Out and Us. That's
Right.
pissing off people in a
That's
good way.
Even if it's not, it doesn't have to be like super. I
Yeah.
don't think that
Those movies are super. I think.
Yeah, Get Out's
in my-
not subtle.
They're not subtle,
right.
but they have those like lower messages, like
Right.
underlying like.
You know what the
baseline.
message
Yeah.
is, and that's been that's why I love cinema is that like they're the storyline can be great, but what makes it even better is knowing that there's more of a message to it that like is not conveyed verbally in the story.
Right.
And I just think I don't think anybody wants this. I think you're just doing something that might be more harmful than helpful.
No, I agree.
And again, I don't know much about this movie. Maybe there's more to it that we'll find about later. I'm also speaking to the Men movie as well, even though that one's not quite as strong of a title as They Them. In my opinion, it's a little bit different, and the Men thing is kind of finally at least somewhat toned down a bit in the past couple of years, but. Yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to speak about that a little bit because I was having more of a think about it today and
A double think, so to speak.
having a double standard. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see when this movie comes out a little bit. And I love if anybody listening has anything that they would like to say about that, or if I would love to help. If I said anything that you might be taking offense to, I do apologize. I may have not conveyed my words correctly with that, so I will say that. I'm not trying to upset anybody either, or get anybody riled up. I just wanted to speak my mind about that. But if I need to clarify anything or whatever, feel free to reach out. Or if you think I'm a horrible person for saying that,
I think
I'm
what
sorry.
I think basically what it is that your heart's in the right place.
I'm
with
just
it.
saying the wrong things.
No, I think you did convey it pretty comprehensively.
I know.
So,
I
yeah,
don't
no,
know what
I
you're
get
saying.
what
You
you're saying.
think I
I get
did,
what you're
but what?
saying. No, I get what you're saying. I understand why. I guess why it would. It's a pissed off that they're trying to piss off people. You know what I mean?
Right.
Where it's
And-
like
and
you're
again-
trying to get people to get upset, fired up about this, and it's annoying.
Right. And not
Not actually getting the good representation that that transgender people need in modern day media, where they're not
Right.
just the focus of it. They are just integrated normally into a film where it's
Right.
like, oh, instead of it being like main character is transgender, boom, bada bing, bada boom. The whole movie is about them being transgender, and that's what it is. And
And
that's
the title
type
is called trans or whatever.
Yeah.
No, exactly. That's what I was gonna say next. Is like
It's that type of
They-
shit where it's like
that's-
that's not good representation.
they
That's
want
not
the
representation.
And again, I am not transgender. I have people who have transition or maybe are unsure of what they want to be, but I've also, especially on office hours, obviously I'm not a part of this part of the show as much, but Tim and the guys always want to represent the trans community because there's a lot of trans gender fans of office hours and of Tim's whole universe, and he always wants to make sure they have their representation
The
on
Tim
there. And always
Heidecker extended
experience.
universe.
the Tim Heidecker experience. But yeah, and so that I've listened to many of those people talk, and I love to hear what they have to say and everything like that. And sometimes I don't love to hear it because it's scary and really sad.
Yeah.
But obviously that's what you have to hear to get through to some people. But I've listened to those people, and I can almost say for sure that they don't want the representation of like the tokenizing. Here it is. Here's that. Like you said, they just want that natural transition of being.
I
like-
think anybody would want that. I
Yeah.
think anybody of any
Right.
race or color would,
Right.
or
Right.
creed or culture would really appreciate that.
Right.
Like there's this TikToker I follow that's Maori, where he, like the people who usually have like tribal tattoos,
Okay.
from like Australian, New Zealand area,
Okay.
that type of area, and he he goes through movies and representation of Maori people, and basically rates them, and like people will ask like, oh well, what about this guy, and he's like, that's a good representation of it. Like he'll rate it, even though it's supposed to be like integrated, where it's like, oh yeah, now they just have representation, but is it good? No.
Right.
Is it good? Is it good representation of their culture and the tribal tattoos and the meanings behind each one? No.
Right.
But then there's some that are like really good, and you don't even have to ask questions about it. It's just they just know it's a good representation, and they can say like,
And
oh,
it
I
is
can
that actual-
recommend that they
right.
reached out. Like they reached out to the community and they asked people like how they want to be represented in this movie or this video game. I know there's a couple video games that have Maori people in them, and like he's really cool, and he also plays guitar in a band down there, so
Nice.
pretty cool.
Yeah, that exactly, and it's sad to even look at, like, especially like the one thing we really, this is a whole nother topic, but like like representing like Native American people. Like,
Yeah.
we really didn't even get that right until like a couple years ago.
I don't even think we have even still gotten
No,
it right,
we still have issues with
because there are
like
still
in you and I's lifetime, there were still movies made with white people playing Indians.
Yeah.
Indians, as I say.
Yeah.
They're obviously Native
Native
Americans.
right.
So we still don't even get that fully right.
The weird thing to me, so recently the Cleveland Indians moved over to the Cleveland Guardians. The strange thing is that in the 50s, whenever they got their red faced logo of the Cleveland Indians, they consulted a Native American about it, and
Okay.
this guy was a representation of it, and like he said, I approve of this from his tribe and stuff like that. Over time, obviously, cares and political beliefs towards
Right.
that logo, Wahoo, Chief Wahoo. That's literally was his name.
Right.
It just changed over time, and I think that's one
Right.
thing that I hope that they get right over time, is that transgender
Right.
people will just become part of the movies.
Right.
Or-
Well, I mean, you probably, I'm going to say something maybe a little silly here, so please take this with a grain of salt, but you probably could have asked black people after, slave laws in most places were abolished, what they thought of segregation, and they would have probably been like, it's great, we can finally do things, but like, as time goes on, it's like why do we not get the same represent? You know
Right.
what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it stuff does change, and people have to understand that like things do change. Just because gay jokes were okay in 2010 doesn't mean they are now.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that stuff's getting dumbed down or we can't say what we want. It's like, no, like these things do actually hold a weight to them.
And you're also
everything
hurting
like
people
that.
that you know, or and they
Right.
may love you as a fan or as a family
Right.
member.
And
You're
there's
hurting
still
them by
a
making
way
those types
to-
of jokes
right.
and that type of thing.
There's still a way to make not just, I'm not specifically saying gay jokes, but
Yeah.
like joking about things like that in a way that that makes sense and is funny and does work. And sometimes it doesn't always work, but like I think our joke of like, can you say that in 2022 when you say a word that like sounds a little weird, whether that means whatever,
Yeah.
but
It's
like there's a way to do it.
yeah. There's like
That's right.
there's the way of having there's like the way of having a gay friend, right?
Right.
And then there's a way of not making fun of gay people, but maybe
Joking with
yeah,
them
joking
about
with them about things. That
yeah
they may be
about
experiencing.
and that's the same goes for us, like people joking with me about being Christian or joking with me about being a little bit overweight or what, like there's ways to do it that are funny and stuff, like, you know what I mean, and that work. But again, like you got to have that connection with that person,
You can't
and
just
you
say
can't
shit.
right, you can't there's a thing called reading the room,
Yeah.
and some things obviously just don't work and you still shouldn't say, but I think most people know not to. Most people.
Yeah, but but left wing media and the media just really hate these people.
Yeah, I got actually an article here.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, to get off that right now, but yes, it was a good movie. Well, maybe we
Carson,
right.
what are you listening to this week?
Right. Many things on the docket. I had something bolded and I was really passionate about it, but maybe we'll just save it or maybe we'll just take it out. I wanted to talk about, I'm not going to talk about it, so don't get scared. I did want to talk about the NFT crypto stock market crash that happened recently. It's kind of leaving the news a little bit more. I would like to get more into that at some point, but maybe we'll wait until it's a little bit more relevant again. Not that it still is relevant, but maybe just not as much. But yes. So what am I listening to? So we have a segment that we do every show. If you're a member of the iTech squad, you guys will know that we recommend music every week. Usually an album, a song. Sometimes we recommend a band, not very often. And for the past couple of weeks, I've been trying my damnedest to stray away from recommending hardcore, metalcore music. But when something new comes out that I love, I have to recommend it. So I've recommended this band before, but they just came out with their first self-released album. It's the band Static Dress, and it is the album Rogue Carpet Disaster. I believe I recommended the song Sweet by them that came out sometime last year. I became a really big fan of Static Dress because back in 2020, my favorite band of all time and my friends in the band Neck Deep they do a thing every year, or they didn't do it last year, but every year for Halloween where they will dress up as the Slipknot guys and do Slipknot songs on Halloween. They usually do a concert. 2020 they couldn't, so they did a live stream. And somebody was like, "Oh, who's doing all those screaming parts?" Because it wasn't Ben, the lead singer. And he's like, "Oh, it's this guy." And this is this is such a great British name. I love it. The lead singer of Static Dress his name is Ollie Appleyard. Ollie Appleyard. And Ben was like, "Yeah, they're a screamo band. They sound a lot like, or they have a lot of sound like."
I think it's Rouge.
Oh, Rouge. You're right. It's not Rogue.
But yeah.
Is that Rouge?
Yeah,
How
it's
do you
Rouge.
spell Rogue then?
Rogue.
Fuck.
Listen, we're a
swear-
podcast of a lot of variety, but if there's one thing that's consistent, it's that I am really good at grammar and
You
spelling.
really are, and I'm not, because I think I am dyslexic. I am almost 100% sure I am dyslexic. Rouge Carpet Disaster by Static Dress. Yeah, so he was talking about the band. He's like, they're a lot like Under Oath, and that's like a buzzword for me. I love Under Oath. And that was kind of the thing with their first few songs or EPs, LPs, whatever they were at the time, because this was their first album that they've been doing since like 2017, 2018. Or actually probably sooner than that now I'm thinking about it. But I loved all that stuff, but like it was very, very similar to Under Oath, which I was fine with because I'm like, another band sounds like Under Oath, cool with me.
Another band sounds good, I'll take it.
And the good thing is that they've kind of strayed. I think you just turned up my mic.
Oh, whoops.
Did you mean to do that?
No, I meant to turn up mine.
There
we go. Hello.
They have.
I just want to sit back for a minute.
Oh, well, let me turn it down a little bit. It's a little bit too hot
Just
for
a
me.
little bit better.
So they
Turn it down.
They kind of strayed away from that Under Oath sound and kind of started forming and finding their own sound, which is great. And they came out with I guess it was an EP in December that was really good. It had a little bit too many like skits, as I call them, whether they're skits or not. But I still liked it a lot. But this album has a lot better material on it. Now, the one thing I'll say about it is the one thing I'll say about it is I love the album. I love all the songs, but they don't make any sense as an album. They don't really.
Not a cohesive album as a whole.
No, which I've talked about before. I like albums that like every song is individual of each other, and I like albums that all, play together as one whole thing. This album, every song plays together as one whole cohesive album, but none of the songs make any sense back to back. They're just like they're all very different.
Mm-hmm. Different sound, or
different sound, different song, or different style, and it's just like it doesn't. And then there's like slow songs where there really shouldn't be slow songs, and it's just it kind of, I don't know, it doesn't make any sense. And
I will still say "Glow On" by Turnstile is one of the best flowing albums.
Oh, it's great. It's beautiful.
Like, if I could create an album that sounds as cohesive as that,
right,
I would take it.
Let's do it. So that's my issue with it. And I think the one thing that I thought about it is it's like, well, maybe to them there's a reason why it makes sense. And then I could understand that. But the thing with media, whether it be music or film or a show or whatever, is that you have to be able to give it to the common folk who don't know much about you and have it make sense to them in some way. It doesn't have to be like the most interesting way or the way it means to you. It has to like work for them. So it's like, though maybe this album does mean something to them and why it flows the way it does, that doesn't matter to me, because to me it's a great album, but it's just like it's kind of gross how it flows together.
Yeah.
So
clunky.
Yeah, very good album. I definitely recommend it. Songs off of it real quick that I would say. My favorite song is called Courtney Just Relax. I love that song. I would also say Lie Solution is very, very good. And I would probably say Maybe would be the other song. Again, really good album, really good songs. I just don't know I just don't think it works altogether, but still really good, just really good songs. Anyways, sorry that went on for a while.
I think that's perfect because I have a long one too.
Good.
So
I'm gonna leave.
Yeah. So I'm recommending Genesis. Like, I don't even know how to describe this, but this I guess it would be a 4-disc album in 1974. It's an hour and 34 minutes long.
Whoa.
It's like a fantastic album. It's called The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. Can
you say it a little bit slower? The what?
The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway.
They said the landmines.
Yeah, the landmines. But The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. I've been trying my best to kind of understand the lyrics of this album. It's been something that my dad has introduced since I was very little. Like I remember him playing World of Warcraft when I was like 4 or 5.
Oh, your dad was a WoW player?
Yeah, back in the day. But that was, he was like 30. So like that, like that's typical age for WoW players now.
Yeah,
still.
My dad did that.
Yeah. But yeah, it was just like I guess he was saying like 32 or 33, but still. It was still it's still kind of amazing to me that this came out in 1974. That this amount of like synthesizer, just insanity, sound mixing, everything came out in 1974. It's just nuts to me.
Now, real quick, was that you said how many disc album?
I guess it was 4 because each.
Did it come out as a 4-disc album when it came out?
Yeah, because it was each
Wow.
each disc was 45 minutes about. So if it's
Would have
maybe
been a heavy ass vinyl.
yeah thick.
Wow, that surprises me because usually like that'll be something that's like later on. It's like the 50th
Yeah,
anniversary.
no, this is
whatever.
there are some. You really just have to listen to it to really. It's one of those albums. I can't really explain it, but it's very strange. The lyrics don't seem to make a lot of sense. It basically tells the story of this guy named Rael, like Rael, like Israel, but Rael. And he talks about being in New York City and being on Broadway. It talks about him having a brother, and just it's so weird. It's a very weird album. He talks about like it's so synthesizer. It's so synthesizer heavy. I'm really not doing it justice at all, but it is a fantastic album that I have glommed onto, and they have some really catchy lyrics. They have some catchy melodies, some catchy hooks. It's so bizarre to listen to, just because I'd say the second half of the album isn't as good as the first. There's a few songs that I really like on the second half. The first half of the album, basically the first 7 songs flow together. It goes from Lamb Lies Down on Broadway to the Grand Parade of Lifeless Packaging, about somewhere in there. But it all kind of flows together. It's really weird. But I guess the single on it is the Carpet Crawlers, because the lyrics are like, you gotta get in to get out. And then that's basically most of the song. And it's super weird. I really like Chamber of 32 Doors, because like, I'd rather trust a country man than a town man. Then there's Lily White Lilith, that's really good. And then there's Anyway that's really good. Anyway, that's really good on the second half of the album. They have one of my favorite synthesizer just exclusive songs is Riding the Scree. It's so insane that Tony Banks was able to just write this and be able to play it in multiple shows a week. It's so weird. It's so weird. I can't put my finger on it, but if you like progressive rock and you just want to just kind of chill out to whatever the fuck is going on, then this album is for you. I have no idea really how to describe this, but it's a classic album in my eyes. It's an epic. It's really just an epic. It's a story. It tells a story. You really kind of have to read along with the lyrics to kind of understand what's going on, because I learned the lyrics wrong just from like ear because the way that he talks in this song, some of the songs are just very like mushy mouth, and like I didn't really understand what he was saying, so I would just sing what I heard.
With every song.
Yeah, I would say what he heard, or I would sing what I hear.
Right.
But then turns out what he's saying is something completely different, even though it sounds phonetically the same. It's not.
90s kids weren't able to look up the lyrics on the
You're
computer
right.
because there wasn't this
There
thing
wasn't
called
any-
the internet.
But you know what's funny is that
We didn't have Genius.
But the albums would come with the booklets that had the lyrics in them. Yeah.
Grab the band album. Grab it. The band album, right up there, the
I
vinyl.
know, I can't cross my legs, God damn it.
Well, you're gonna have to get that checked out. Now, does it have that lyrics in there? Somewhere? Shit, I thought it did.
I think. No.
Fuck. Well, we're gonna have to cut this out.
Pink Floyd's might though.
I know what you're talking about.
Some of them have, like, I had this CD that had the insert. I
Right.
mean, maybe they didn't. Maybe they didn't in the original release. I don't know.
I know some of them did.
Some of them did.
I know I can't. It can't be. It can't be
I'm
untrue.
I'm shitting you negative.
It's got to be
But
real.
it is-
It's just got to be real.
Got to be real. But some of my favorites. One of my favorites as a kid was Counting Out Time, and now I realize that it's basically just it's a song about him wanting to have sex with a girl.
Okay.
And it's like erogenous zones. I question you. Erogenous zones. I love you. And like it's about how he buys this book on how to please a woman, and like they're each place is numbered, and he's touch and go with 1 to 6, still having trouble with number 7. And
Oh, that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Because I've heard people talk about like how they always found like for some reason parents in like the 70s 80s always had a book about like I forgot what the title is, but it's something about like how to have sex or
Yeah.
like how to spice up like
somebody's
funny
gonna
'cause
know
that,
what you're
like-
talking about.
Right,
I know
that
what
definitely-
you're talking about, but I don't know.
yeah,
the name.
that
It's
definitely
like Johnny is a
worked
boy.
with the time.
Yeah.
That definitely worked with the time. and
Yeah,
it's- I like that.
it's, I wish that I wish that I understood it a little bit better, but it was Peter Gabriel's last album as a member of Genesis before Phil Collins took over, and then the following album, Steve Hackett left, and then there was 3 and so on and so forth.
And then there was 3.
Yeah.
Is that synth guy still alive?
Yeah, Tony Banks is still alive. Yeah.
Does he tour at all, solo or something?
I think he might have some solo stuff. I can look it up, but
Just curious.
yeah, he has some solo stuff.
Interesting.
But
because you always talk about their synth stuff, and
it's incredible. It's
I
incredible.
Still think about that one song where it's just like super fast and it's
Yeah.
just bonkers.
I'll play you some after this, but still.
I'm definitely gonna give that a listen. The other thing I was gonna ask is, do all of those, just every disc flow together? Or are they all kind of like separate acts?
I guess it's separate acts.
Okay.
There's one where he like arrives in New York City, and then like he goes into a dream. Well, he's on New York City. He's hanging around New York City. He's being reminded of these things, and then he like gets into a dream state, and he's in like a cage. That's the song, like In the Cage. Yeah. Still just a rat in the cage. It's one of my favorite albums of all time. It's one of those like you can listen to it 100 times and find something different about it every time. And it's granted it's very long. There are some, I wouldn't say stinkers, but one very, very, very strange. You have to watch the video of it, but the colony of Slippermen is very strange. It is so weird, and the story. It gets lost in translation for me, but I still listen to it. I really like it. I listen to it in the IV room just because it gets couple licks get stuck in my head and I just want to hear it. The way that he says things in certain songs kind of gets stuck in my head. There's one where it's like in Broadway Melody of 1974. He talks about like being the weakest link in the chain, and it's like the way he says it, it's like it hit, I don't know why, but it just got stuck in my head. So it's
that's
very
an album-
interesting. You really have to listen to it all. I mean, not in one listen, but all in one. So,
And that's an album that you can just turn on the IV room and never have to change.
yeah, because it is an
It's
hour and
so
a
long.
half long.
Yeah, I'm gonna give that. You know, I'm always trying new things.
It's kind
I'm
of
always-
strange. If you
I'm
don't like it, it's
trying
okay.
to-
But
I'm
But-
trying to get into Genesis, and I don't think I'm there quite yet.
this is early Genesis. This isn't poppy Genesis. I will say
Well,
it's not
I
that
do
weird.
like that. I'm a big, though I am a big newer, as in like the late '90s progressive rock revival kind of era. I'm a big fan of that stuff, but I do like progressive rock from the '60s, '70s, like Pink Floyd and stuff like
Right.
that. So I think I would like it, but I don't know.
I'll play you a
also-
couple things and I'll point it out to you
Crimson.
as we listen to it.
Right.
So
The green?
Let's get the fuck out of here.
well, everybody, thanks for listening to the. Sorry, I'm gonna turn it down just a little
For
bit.
most people, this was just an hour, maybe almost going up on an hour 40 show. It's been like 2.5 hours for Gavin and I at this point. We've been in here for so long. And I'm not complaining.
Well, everybody,
But what I am saying is we're ready to go.
yeah. Well, everybody, thanks for listening to the Excites All Kinds podcast, episode 64. Keep liking, keep sharing, keep talking, keep listening. We'll be here listening to you. You'll be listening to us.
Some very
Very funny topics, very dark topics, very cool topics, very controversial topics. Very controversial.
Some cool things are on the horizon, are in the talks that could be coming soon. We will announce those as they come, but just know we are working beyond just Gavin and I rambling about whatever. We're always thinking of new ideas. We're always on the cutting edge. Always thinking of what's happening, what's new, and everything like that. We got ideas, though. We got fun things coming. You know, the juices are always flowing.
Awesome.
And the juice that's always flowing is, of course, O.J. Simpson.
Goodbye, bye.